Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Seahawks Recap Show. Seahawks game recap for Week 9, Ravens versus Seahawks. And sorry if I'm low energy, but I just finished watching one of the worst performances of my entire Seahawks fandom. This was one of the worst games I've ever seen. And honestly, I can't even think about anything positive to say about this game. But we need to do better in week 10, and I'm just here to recap it. So let's talk about this debacle of a game, shall we? Let's talk about the game summary. Ravens win 37-3. Yeah, you heard me right. It was a gigantic blowout win. And let's talk about it. So the Ravens had 515 total yards of offense, 217 passing yards, 298 rushing yards, 6.9 yards per play, 30 first downs, went 6 for 13 on third down efficiency, went 1 for 2 on fourth down, had 75 total plays, 1 sack allowed, 2 punts, 3 penalties for 11 yards given up, 2 fumbles lost, no interceptions thrown, and 40 minutes and 3 seconds of possession time. Don't blame the defense, Seahawks. Don't ever blame the defense for what just happened in this game. If you're on the field for the majority of the entire game, you'd give up some big yards too. I don't want to hear anything bad on this Seahawks defense right now. It was all offense in this game. But we get to the Seahawks, and they had a total of 151 yards, 123 passing yards, 28 rushing yards. That's how you know it's bad if Kenneth Walker can't even get, and the team can't even get at least 50 yards in a game. They had 3.2 yards per play, only 6 first downs. They went 1 for 12, went 0 for 1 on fourth down, and then had 47 total plays, 4 sacks allowed, 7 punts, 5 penalties for 29 yards given up, 1 fumble lost, and 1 interception thrown. This one was to Geo Stone, and it's another hero ball play. And they had 19 minutes and 57 seconds of possession time. Let's get on to Ryan's focus players, and let's talk about the Ravens for a second. Lamar Jackson, one of the most electrifying dual threat quarterbacks in the game today, and here's why. He went 21 for 26, had 178 passing yards, 60 rushing yards to boot, had 1 touchdown and no interceptions. Just a very clean game from him. And, 2 fumbles, sure, but honestly, he just did a masterful job controlling the tempo of this game for the offense. And the running back, Keaton Mitchell, had 9 carries, 138 yards, 15.3 yards averaged per carry, and 1 touchdown. This guy was a beast in his, I believe it was his debut. I believe he's a rookie, and he really showed up in this game. Really nice to see rookies showing up in things. I just wish it wasn't against the Seahawks, but I digress before I even get more mad about this. And we get to the wide receiver, and it's Odell Beckham Jr. It was his birthday, and of course, he gets a birthday touchdown, and that is his first touchdown as a Baltimore Raven. Congrats to him. He is now 31 years old. He had 5 receptions for 56 yards, averaged 11.2 yards per reception, and had the 1 touchdown. On the other side, you've got the Seahawks and Geno Smith. He went 13 for 28, had 157 passing yards, had 0 touchdowns, and the 1 interception by Geo Stone. Just, again, like I said, a hero ball play that, honestly, he's just trying to get more yardage back after, getting sacked 4 times, and he just throws it and gets picked off. It's bad, man. It's really bad. But we get to the running back, and it's Kenneth Walker, 9 carries, 16 yards, 1.8 yards per carry and 0 touchdowns. And this is just a testament to the Ravens defensive line and the entire defense in general. When Kenneth Walker can't get going in a game, you know this is going to be a very difficult game because Kenneth Walker is, again, one of the most explosive running backs I've seen in a Seahawks uniform since probably Marshawn Lynch. So it's just insane that he only got 16 yards this game. We get to one of the few bright spots, and it was Jackson Smith-Njigba at wide receiver. 6 receptions for 63 yards, averaged 10.5 yards per reception, and 0 touchdowns. I finally think they know how to use Jackson Smith-Njigba. I think he's finally getting a role in this offense, and I hope to see more games like this from him in the future. Just I want them to be wins next time. We get to the defenses. The Ravens defense, Justin Mbuke, 4 solo tackles, 1 sack, no interceptions. Him and Michael Pierce are just a two-headed monster at DT. This is an insane group that can press you from all sides, attack you from multiple angles. And the offensive line, even though they gave up 4 sacks, I'm surprised they didn't give up more considering how good this Ravens defense actually is. It's really hard when you're going up against one of the best defenses in terms of sacks, the best defense in terms of sacks in the entire NFL right now. We talk about the D line, but we got to also talk about the secondary, and it's Geo Stone, safety. He had 1 solo tackle, 1 interception, and now he has 6 on the year. He's leading the league in interceptions. And the funny thing about this is in his first 3 seasons, he only had 1 interception to his name. Now he has 6. This is a breakout season for Geno Stone. So good to see players break out and things. I just wish it wasn't against the Seahawks. And, but good for him. And we get to the final person on this defense that I wanted to highlight, and it's Kyle Van Noy, 2 solo tackles, 2 sacks, no interceptions, and a forced fumble given up by Geno. And man, Kyle Van Noy, as a Patriot, as a Dolphin, was just a pure pass rusher. He was great at getting to the quarterback, and he looks like he's continued here with the Ravens. So good on him. For the Seattle defense, I wanted to highlight Leonard Williams, and he took over for Mario Edwards Jr., so that's where he'll play. He'll play at left end, and he had 1 solo tackle, 1 assisted tackle, 0 sacks, 0 interceptions. But the amount of pressure he was trying to get on Lamar Jackson, he was getting in there, and he was forcing Lamar Jackson out of the pocket a lot of the time. Just no one was there to actually wrap up Lamar Jackson. And it's very hard to wrap up Lamar Jackson because he's so darn fast. But decent showing from Leonard Williams. Just wish he had more sacks in the game. But it is Lamar Jackson, and he's really hard to bring down. Anyways, we get to corner DB, and it's Trey Brown. 2 solo tackles, 1 assisted tackle, 0 sacks, and 1 forced fumble. He punched it out against Odell Beckham Jr. near the end of the second quarter to help us try and get some more offense. And unfortunately, that turnover resulted in just a punt away. So that was pretty bad, but good showing from this defense to try and keep us in the game with some turnovers. And let's talk about for the second game in a row, Boy Amafe, linebacker, 5 solo tackles, 1 assisted tackle, 1 sack, and 1 forced fumble. Again, just like Leonard Williams, he was getting in on a lot of those plays, and he just couldn't wrap up. He got 1 sack, and then he went and he knew he wasn't going to get a sack, so he just hit the ball out of Lamar Jackson's hands and got a fumble out of that. Good to see from Boy Amafe showing up in this game, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for him on this Seahawks defense. But let's get to my final thoughts, shall we? And honestly, I know this is a bit pessimistic and downtrodden, but I can't find a single thing that was positive about this game. Honestly, when you're having so many issues in this game like you were, there's real like you got geek beat. You got completely and utterly crushed in this game. So there's really nothing that went well in this game. What to improve on? Honestly, I don't even know where to start. Our offense this season especially in the red zone, but especially just our offense in general has been so awful. Geno Smith has been throwing picks left and right these past couple weeks. Our defense is giving up, yes, 515 yards total in the game, but that's because they can't get off the field to even catch their breath. They had 40 minutes and 3 seconds to contend to. That is 3 quarters of football. Just so you know, that is 3 full quarters of football that the defense was on the field. What are you expecting them to do? Not be tired? These guys have to compete with the best in the world. So when their offense can't get on the field to do anything and score points and let them rest a little bit, of course, they're going to bend and break eventually. Honestly, I know this is a bit dramatic, but is it time to fire Shane Waldron? Honestly, he's a second-year coordinator, but this season, he just looks like he's gone backwards. The play calling is garbage. Honestly, it really is. You're near the bottom of the league in red zone efficiency. You're near the bottom of the league in third down conversion rate, and you can't score points. You guys are throwing picks. You guys are not throwing the ball quick enough out to wide receivers. You guys are not handing the ball off a lot more than you should be at this point. I think it's time for a change because honestly, it can't be much worse. If you're going into the playoffs and you still have these issues, it's been an issue all season. If you're going into the playoffs and hoping that you're going to do anything in them, you won't. Because if you're just expecting the defense to bail you out of every situation, that won't happen. You're going to get steamrolled in the playoffs. It's only going to get harder if you make the playoffs. So you need to figure something out. I don't know what that thing is. Run some screens, run some quick plays, quick slants, get the ball out of Geno's hands because you can't expect the offensive line. The offensive line had no holding penalties in this game, by the way. So Geno Smith had a lot of time to throw the ball. And when he didn't, that's because he was throwing play actions. So you need to find a way to get it out of his hands quicker and faster because honestly, you can't compete right now. My final thoughts. Oh my God, Baltimore, you guys are so good right now. It's honestly insane. Your defense is leading the league in sacks. Your offense is so tricky to stop because you have 3 ways. You have 3 very good ways of scoring points. With Lamar Jackson under center, it's like, oh, is he going to run it? Because I know Lamar Jackson can hurt you with his legs. Oh, is he going to pass it? Because I know he's got enough wide receivers now to actually be relied upon. He's got Odell Beckham Jr., he's got Zay Flowers, he's got Nelson Aguilar, he's got Devin Duvernay. Those guys are doing really well. And, you know, if he doesn't keep it or he doesn't pass it, he'll just hand it off to a running back that can sprint and trash for as many yards as they want. They're very efficient and they're very balanced on offense, and that's why it's working. Because now opposing defenses, they want to try to stop all 3 at once. They're going to get gobsmacked like the Seahawks just did. So they need to focus on one area, either stop the pass or stop the run and give up passing yards. You know, you guys are so balanced with your team. So I think you guys, honestly, if you guys can just stay healthy, I think you guys can be a top contender in the AFC. And I honestly think you could even make a Super Bowl run with your team the way it is playing right now. You just got to stay healthy. Seahawks, I don't even know what to say. This has been the worst game you've played all season, and that includes the home opener. If you play like this again next week in week 10, you can honestly kiss your playoff chances about going anywhere far in them goodbye. Because now it's only going to get harder from here. You guys need to bounce back and you need to fix your issues on offense. If you don't, it's just going to get more painful from here. And I will not have another good week of Seahawks football. Hopefully we can bounce back, but let's see. Anyways, this has been it for the Seahawks game recap of week 9, Ravens versus Seahawks. I'm so sorry that this was more of a rant video, but there was not really much to say good about this blowout. No part of this was very good, so I apologize for that. Anyways, I hope to see you on Saturday for News of the Week, episode 14, when I break down the whole entire of week 9. And I hope the Seahawks can bounce back in week 10. Go Hawks, go. And I can't wait to see what they do in week 10. Let's hope it is better.